Mom always said my birthday was the worst day of her life. So, she never let me celebrate it. But Chloe, she got a big birthday party every year. I cried and begged Mom to let me have just one celebration. Mom pulled out a spreadsheet and threw it in my face. I've spent $5,850.06 on you this year. You ungrateful little burden. After everything I've spent on you, you want a birthday party too? I didn't get it. We weren't poor. But Mom kept track of every single penny, even the cost of an ice cream cone. If it wasn't for having you, my body wouldn't be wrecked, wouldn't have all these stretch marks. Your dad wouldn't have run off and found another woman. Everything wrong in my life is because of you. If you really want to make it up to me, you should just die. I almost died giving birth to you. And you're not even grateful? You want to celebrate the day I suffered? Do you have any conscience at all? I pulled the blanket over my head, too scared to even cry out loud. To make Mom happy, I jumped off the roof. But even after I died, Mom and Dad still weren't happy. Mom threw the spreadsheet at me, furious. My eyes were swollen from crying. I knelt on the floor sobbing. Mom, when I grow up, I'll get a job and pay you back. Mom didn't hesitate. She slapped me across the face. My cheek burned. And then came her screaming, "Pay me back. You think you can ever pay back all the years I wasted raising you? If you really want to pay me back, just die and set me free." Mom smashed everything she could grab, then left with Chloe. I stayed there alone, kneeling in the broken mess. I thought maybe Dad would be different. He came home drunk and crashed on the couch, scrolling through his phone. I stopped cleaning and got him some water. That's when I saw Mom's Snapchat story on his screen. In the photo, Mom was hugging Chloe, smiling like nothing had happened. The caption said, "No matter what, never take your bad mood out on your child. That's our promise." She couldn't take her bad mood out on Chloe, but she could take it all out on me. My hand shook and water spilled on Dad. He yanked his phone away and glared at me. "Lily, what's wrong with you? You can't even do one simple thing right. You're useless." My nose stung and tears started coming again. "Dad, I didn't mean to." He shot me an annoyed look and pointed at the door. "Stop crying. You're so annoying. Just get out." I tried to explain, but he got up and headed upstairs without listening. I gathered all my courage and called after him. "Dad, today it's my birthday." He stopped on the stairs and turned around. For a second, I thought he remembered. I thought maybe he'd celebrate with me. Just this once. I watched him, full of hope and fear. But all he said was birthday. What birthday? When I was a kid, nobody gave a damn about birthdays. You don't know how good you've got it. He went upstairs without looking back. I stumbled outside and melted in the snow. Mom, Dad, you always said I was bad luck, that I was your curse, that you fought every day because of me. So, if I'm gone, will you finally stop fighting? That night, I got a really high fever. I tried to ignore it, crawled out of my room and knocked on Mom's door. She yanked it open, annoyed. "What now? Keeping everyone awake? Are you trying to kill me?" I shook my head quickly.
No, Mom.
"I just don't feel good. I wanted to." She cut me off. "Don't feel good? What's your problem?" "Chloe fell and hurt her leg today. And she's not complaining." "Why are you?" Chloe started crying inside the room. Mom rushed in and held her. "Chloe, sweetie, what's wrong? Does it still hurt?" Chloe buried her face in Mom's arms. "Mom, it hurts. It's Lily's fault for fighting with you today. I was so upset. I wasn't watching where I was going, and I fell." Mom wiped her tears and glared at me. "This is all your fault. You're nothing but bad luck. Why don't you just die?" Tears blurred my vision. I heard Mom shut the door, and I lay on the floor all night. I used to think Mom treated Chloe better because Chloe looked like her. But I couldn't change my face. So I tried to be perfect in other ways. From the time I started school, I was always at the top of my class. But when I showed Mom my report card, she was busy comforting Chloe, who came in last. My report card, first in the whole school, got tossed in the trash. I tried so hard. I won so many awards. Mom only ever saw Chloe. One day, the teacher assigned an essay about our mothers. I wrote and rewrote, crumpled page after page. I couldn't remember a single time Mom had been gentle with me. In the end, I turned in a blank paper. The teacher made me stand in front of the class and said I was heartless. I stood there listening to everyone's essays, wondering the whole time if Mom ever really loved me. As I got older, I finally understood. Mom didn't love me. Not because I wasn't good enough.
She just didn't want me. She didn't want me to exist.
I thought I was going to die that night, but I didn't. I kept living in that house, walking on eggshells for another 6 months. 2 weeks before Chloe's birthday, Mom started getting everything ready. The party, the gifts, all of it. I walked past her with red eyes. She sighed and called me back. What's with the sad face? Chloe's birthday is coming up. You better look happy. I don't want to see that miserable look on your face. I wanted to ask why Chloe got big parties every year, while I couldn't even have a small one, but the words got stuck in my throat. I just nodded and went to my room. Behind me, Mom hummed happily as she kept planning. Chloe mentioned wanting Dad at her party. And Mom, who usually started fighting with Dad the second she saw him, actually cooked dinner herself and invited him. And he said yes. I crouched in the kitchen, crying quietly, tears dripping into my rice bowl. I lost my appetite and threw out the leftover rice and pickles. Mom saw and went off on me. She smashed my bowl and screamed, Lily, if you don't want to eat, get out. You're throwing away food behind my back? Is my cooking not good enough for you? I looked at the broken pieces on the floor.
No.
I just wasn't hungry. Before I could finish, she slapped me. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Chloe's plate piled with meat she barely touched. At the birthday party, Chloe had a ton of friends over. I carefully handed her a gift I picked out just for her. She didn't even look at it. She knocked the box to the floor. What is this garbage? I'm your older sister. And this is how you treat my birthday? Don't you remember all the pretty dresses I gave you for yours? Chloe did give me dresses, but none of them were new. They were all hand-me-down stuff she or her friends had already worn. I picked up the gift, wiping off the dust with my sleeve. Chloe, hair clips look so good on you. I saved up for months to buy this.
Please take it.
She grabbed the box and threw it on the ground. I watched the hair clip fall, and my chest tightened so much I couldn't breathe. I crouched down, hands shaking, reaching for it. Then Chloe stomped on it over and over until it broke into two. She stood there, arms crossed, looking down at me. Mom says you're bad luck. If I wear something from you, who knows what will happen? A jinx like you should take all your bad luck and get out of this house. Mom and Dad had such good lives until you came along. You almost killed Mom when you were born. Jinx. I collapsed. Chloe's voice faded away. When I woke up, Mom and Chloe were sitting by my bed. I was so excited. It was the first time Mom had ever come into my room. But before I could say anything,
She slapped me. You sat here, confused?
tears streaming down.
Mom.
I hadn't done anything wrong.
Hi.
Don't call me Mom. I don't have a jinx daughter like you. Look what you did. If you're going to die, do it outside. Why you have to ruin Chloe's birthday party? Your dad finally agreed to come, and you ruined everything. My smile froze. She wasn't here because she cared. She was here to punish me for Chloe. I tried to get up, but fell off the bed. I just stayed there, kneeling in front of her. I reached out and tugged at her clothes. Mom, I didn't mean to. She kicked me hard. My head hit the corner of the bed. Blood ran down my face. But she didn't care. She just turned and rushed out. When she came back, I noticed a rip where I grabbed her clothes. She changed into something else. Mom, I'm not dirty. I shower every day. Do you really hate me that much? Chloe is your child, but I'm your flesh and blood, too. Why don't you feel anything for me? You always said I should die. If I die, will you finally be happy? Will Dad stop fighting with you? If that's true, then I'm willing to die. I wanted to say goodbye to Mom. So I went to the banquet hall with my head still bleeding. When she saw me, her eyes filled with anger. What are you doing here? What happened to your head? For a second, I thought she cared.
I'm Fine.
She cut me off. How unlucky. It's Chloe's birthday. You did this on purpose, didn't you? You want to bring bad luck to this whole family. A perfect party, and you ruined the mood. I should have never brought you. Mom glared at me and walked into the banquet hall.
The door is closed. Through the gap.
I saw her gently putting a birthday hat on Chloe's head. I'd ruined the party she'd worked so hard on. I wanted to make her happy again. I asked a lot of people and they said, when you die, your soul flies to heaven. So I climbed onto the roof. It was so close to the sky. If I jumped, would I fly there too? Just as I was about to jump, someone called out. I turned around. A woman stood there. She was really pretty. Her voice was shaking. Sweetie, you can't play up there.
Come here.
I'll take you to your mom and dad. I thanked her politely, then asked, ma'am, if I jump from here, will I fly to heaven? I asked a lot of people. They all said dying means flying to heaven.
Mom always says I'm bad luck.
She tells me to die. I don't want her to be sad anymore. The woman was scared, but didn't move. She reached out her hand. Honey, come here. Let me take you home. I shook my head no. Mom will be upset if she sees me again. I don't want to make her upset. I didn't say anything else. I pushed off and leaped toward the sky. Mom, don't be mad. I listened to you.
I'm dying.
Just like you wanted. But it wasn't what I expected. My body dropped fast. Through the window, I saw Mom kiss Chloe's forehead. Her eyes glanced toward the window. I wanted to wave, but I was falling too fast. Before I could raise my hand, she disappeared. Something flickered in her eyes. Someone shouted. Someone jumped. Mom looked shocked. Chloe, where's your sister? She looked around the room, but didn't see me anywhere. She panicked and ran to the window. As my eyes closed, I saw her. There were tears in her eyes. Her lips were moving.
Mom,
Did I do something wrong again? If not, why are you crying? Gravity didn't feel like flying. It felt like an apology. The impact wasn't loud. That was the first thing that surprised me. I expected a boom, something that would shake the house and force them to look at me. Instead, there was just a wet, heavy thud against the pavement, like a bag of wet sand dropped from a truck. Then, absolute silence. I didn't feel pain. The pain stopped the moment my soul detached from the broken vessel on the concrete. I stood up, or thought I did, hovering 3 feet above my own body. The snow around me was turning a bright, shocking crimson. It looked like the ink Mom used to circle the negative numbers on her bank statements. Up above, the music from the banquet hall was still thumping. Bass, bass, treble. A pop song about living forever. Then, the scream cut through the music. It wasn't Mom. It was the woman who had tried to save me. She was leaning over the parapet, her hands clutching her mouth, her eyes wide with a horror that felt foreign to this house. "Call 911, she shrieked. Her voice cracked, raw and terrified. That was what drew them to the window. Not me. Not my absence. But the noise ruining the party. I floated upward, weightless, drawn like a moth to the light of the window.
I saw Mom.
She was holding a glass of champagne. She looked annoyed at the interruption. She walked to the window, ready to scold whoever was shouting. She looked down. I watched her face closely. I wanted to see the regret. I wanted to see the love that she had buried so deep she couldn't find it. I wanted to see her realize that her curse was finally gone. Mom's face went pale. Her grip on the champagne glass tightened until the stem snapped. Crystal shards fell onto the carpet, but she didn't notice. "Lily," she whispered. Then, her eyes darted left and right. She wasn't looking at my body.
She was looking at the guests.
She was looking at the neighbors gathering on their lawns. She turned around, her face twisting into a mask of frantic desperation. She grabbed Dad's arm. She did it. Mom hissed low and venomous. She actually did it. On Chloe's birthday. That selfish little brat. Dad blinked, the alcohol slowing his brain. What? She jumped. She jumped off the roof. Mom was hyperventilating, but there were no tears. How are we going to explain this? The police, the neighbors, everyone is watching. My reputation. Chloe's party. She rushed over to Chloe, who was eating cake, oblivious. Mom grabbed her shoulders. "Chloe, listen to me." Lily fell. It was an accident. She was playing. Do you hear me? She was playing. I drifted back down to the snow, sitting cross-legged beside my own corpse. She didn't care. Even in death, I was just an inconvenience. A stain on the driveway that would cost money to clean. The funeral was cheap. I hovered in the back of the funeral home, watching. It was a Tuesday morning, the cheapest time slot available. There were no flowers, only a small, closed casket made of particle board. Mom sat in the front row, wearing black. She was crying, but I knew those tears. Those were the tears she used when she wanted a discount at the grocery store. She was troubled. Mom told the few people who came. We tried everything. Therapy, medication, love. But she was just broken. "You're a saint for dealing with it." A neighbor patted her hand. I screamed at them, but my voice was just a draft of cold air. Liar. She never took me to therapy. She never gave me medicine. Dad sat next to her, staring at his shoes. He looked smaller, grayer. He kept rubbing his thumb over his phone screen, over and over, like he was trying to erase something. When they got home, the house felt different, heavier. Mom walked into the kitchen and sat down at the table. She opened her laptop. She didn't mourn. She didn't go to my room to smell my pillows. She opened Excel. "Funeral costs," she muttered, typing furiously. "Casket, $400. Service, $250. Ambulance fee, $800. She hit enter. "Cleaning the driveway," she added. "Pressure washer rental, $45. She stared at the total. $6,000, she screeched, slamming her hand on the table. "She cost me another $6,000. Even dead, she's bleeding me dry." Chloe walked in, wearing a new pair of headphones. She looked at Mom. "Mom, can I have $20 for pizza?" Mom whipped her head around. Usually, she would smile and say yes. But today, her eyes were bloodshot and wild. "Money." Mom snapped. "You want money? Do you know how much your sister just cost us? Do you think money grows on trees?" Chloe stepped back, shocked. "But you said." "I don't care what I said." Mom screamed. Go to your room. And take off those headphones. I didn't say you could wear them inside. Chloe ran upstairs, crying. I stood in the corner of the kitchen, watching. It had started. Without the scapegoat, the predator had no one to hunt. So she turned on the only prey left. Her name was Sarah. She was the woman on the roof. The one who reached for me. 3 weeks after the funeral, Sarah knocked on the door. Mom answered, wearing her fake smile. Can I help you? Mrs. Miller? Sarah asked, her voice tight. My name is Sarah Jenkins. I was there. The day Lily died. Mom's smile didn't falter, but her eyes went cold.
Oh.
Thank you for stopping by. It's been very hard on us. We're trying to move on. I found something, Sarah said. She reached into her bag and pulled out a notebook. My heart, if I had one, would have stopped. It was my journal. I had left it on the roof ledge before I jumped. I wanted someone to know. I read it, Sarah said. Mom reached for it. Give that to me. It's my daughter's property. Sarah pulled it back. I made copies. And I gave one to Child Protective Services. And the police. Mom froze. Excuse me? You have no right. She wrote about the spreadsheet, Mrs. Miller, Sarah said, stepping forward. She wasn't scared anymore. She wrote about the cost of the ice cream. She wrote about the time you slapped her for being hungry. She wrote that you told her to die. She was mentally ill. Mom shrieked. She was a liar. A jinx. I also have a video, Sarah said calmly. The silence in the doorway was deafening. I was filming the view from the roof before I saw her, Sarah lied. Or maybe she wasn't lying. The audio picked up everything. I heard her say, Mom tells me to die. I heard her say she didn't want you to be mad. Mom's face turned a violent shade of red. Get off my porch. I'm leaving, Sarah said. But the investigation starts tomorrow. The downfall wasn't instant. It was a slow, rotting decay, much worse than the quick fall I had experienced. CPS showed up. Police detectives followed. They interviewed the teachers who remembered the blank essay. They interviewed the neighbors who heard the screaming. But the real damage happened inside the house. Dad lost his job. He was drinking at work, unable to focus. When he came home, Mom didn't comfort him. She attacked. Useless, she screamed at him, throwing a plate. First, that ungrateful brat ruins my reputation. Now you can't even bring home a paycheck? How am I supposed to pay these legal fees? Maybe if you hadn't treated her like a dog. Dad roared back. It was the first time in his life he had yelled at her. I saw the spreadsheet, Martha. I saw it. Who charges their kid for birth? I did it for us. Mom screamed. I did it to keep this family afloat. You did it because you're a monster. Dad spat. He grabbed his keys. Where are you going? I'm leaving. I'm done. You can't leave me, Mom wailed, clutching a shirt. I'm the victim here. She ruined my life. Dad shoved her off. He walked out the door and didn't look back. Mom sat on the floor, surrounded by broken china. She looked up at the ceiling. Lily, she screamed my name. This is your fault. You did this. You drove him away. I stood in front of her. I leaned down until my face was inches from hers.
No, Mom.
You did this. Then there was Chloe. Chloe, the golden child. She was alone with Mom now. Chloe. Mom shouted from the kitchen. Why is this dish dirty? Can't you do anything right? Chloe stood in the doorway, trembling. She was wearing one of my old shirts. I scrubbed it. You're useless, Mom muttered, wiping the counter. Just like your sister. A burden. Do you know how much the lawyer costs, Chloe?
Do you?
Mom pulled out the laptop. She opened a new tab on the spreadsheet. She typed, Chloe. I saw Chloe's eyes widen. She saw the screen. Chloe, legal fees, $15,000. Chloe, food, $200. You're charging me? Chloe whispered. Someone has to pay. Mom snapped. If you hadn't demanded that stupid party, Lily wouldn't have jumped, and we wouldn't be in this mess. It's your fault too. Chloe burst into tears. She ran to her room, my room, because Mom had sold her bed to pay a bill. Sarah didn't just go to the police. She went to the internet. The story of the spreadsheet Mom went viral. My journal pages were everywhere. The entry about the ice cream cone. The entry about the hair clip. People were horrified. Strangers left flowers on the driveway. They spray painted, "Justice for Lily" on the garage door. Mom couldn't leave the house. The grocery store clerks refused to serve her. The neighbors turned their backs when she walked by. She lost her friends. She lost her status. One night, the power got cut off. Mom sat in the dark living room, lit only by the glow of her laptop battery. She was staring at the spreadsheet. The total spent column was red. 5,800. She mumbled. The front door opened. It was Chloe. She had a backpack. Where do you think you're going? Mom snapped. Dad came to get me, Chloe said softly. Mom scrambled up.
No.
No, you can't leave. You're all I have left. You have to help me pay this back. I'm not your investment, Mom, Chloe said. Her voice sounded older, sadder. I'm your daughter. And you're scary. Scary? Mom laughed, a high, broken sound. I gave you everything. Parties. Dresses. I loved you. You didn't love me, Chloe said, tears streaming down her face. You just loved that I wasn't Lily. And now that Lily is gone, you hate me. Chloe walked out. The car door slammed. Dad drove away. Mom was alone. The house was silent. The only sound was the wind rattling the window I had jumped from. Mom sat on the floor. She looked old. Her hair was matted. She hadn't showered in days. She looked at the empty room. Lily, she whispered. I was there. I was sitting on the couch, watching her. Lily, come out, she croaked. I know you're here. You're haunting me, aren't you? You won. Are you happy? Everyone left. I have nothing. She picked up the laptop. She looked at the final sum of her life.
Husband, gone. Chloe, gone. Lily, dead.
Money, minus $145,000 in debt. She started to cry. But this time, it wasn't the fake cry. It was a guttural, ugly sound. I just wanted to be perfect, she sobbed. I gave up my body for you. I gave up my dreams. Why didn't you appreciate it?
She still didn't get it.
She still thought love was a transaction. I stood up. I walked over to her. I placed my cold hand on her shoulder. She shivered violently. It wasn't about the money, Mom, I whispered into her ear. She couldn't hear my words, but she felt the intent. It was just an ice cream cone. Mom squeezed her eyes shut. I'm sorry, she whimpered. I paused. I had waited my whole life to hear that.
I'm sorry,
she continued, that I ever had kids. My hand dropped from her shoulder. There was no redemption for her.
No epiphany.
She was a black hole, incapable of light. I looked out the window. The sky was beginning to brighten. A warm, golden light was breaking through the clouds. It didn't look like the scary heaven I imagined. It looked like a sunrise. I realized I didn't have to stay here anymore. I didn't have to watch her. My business was done. The truth was out. Dad knew. Chloe knew. The world knew. And I was free. I walked toward the window. I didn't look back at the woman sobbing over an Excel spreadsheet in the dark. She was a prisoner of her own making. I climbed onto the ledge. But this time, I wasn't falling. I stepped out into the air and I flew. A young woman stood in front of a grave. The headstone was simple, but well cared for. Fresh lilies were planted all around it. Lily Miller, beloved sister and daughter. Chloe knelt down. She was 25 now. She looked like Mom, but her eyes were kind. Hi, Lily, she said softly. I graduated today. Nursing school. I want to help kids. Kids like us. She adjusted the flowers. Dad is doing okay. He's sober. He talks about you a lot. He wishes he had been stronger. Chloe sighed, looking at the grass. Mom died last week, she said. The wind rustled the trees. She died alone in that house. The state took everything.
They found the laptop.
It was still open. Chloe reached into her pocket and pulled out a small, tarnished object. It was a hair clip. It had been glued back together, clumsy and crooked, but whole. I kept this, she whispered. I'm sorry I broke it. I'm sorry I didn't protect you. She placed the clip on the headstone. You're not bad luck, Lily, Chloe said, wiping a tear. You were the only thing that was real. As Chloe walked away, a soft breeze picked up. It swirled around the lilies, lifting a single petal into the air. The petal danced in the sunlight, climbing higher and higher, until it disappeared into the blue.